Hi there, Vivienne from Karmic Wellbeing in the Highlands of Scotland here. And as promised, I'm back to make my next video, my new video, which is going to be on breastfeeding. So yes, you can see I've got a little visitor with me today, Charlotte. She will not let me make a video unless she's sitting on my lap. She just wants to be involved, don't you, darling? So I was making videos when I was pregnant to help other people when I was trying to conceive, just practices that I use, diet tips that I use, just hints and tips basically to help others. So now that my little bundle of joy is 3 months old, I've decided to do one for breastfeeding just to highlight the benefits out there, because it's, they're fabulous benefits for a wee baby. And yeah, and it's just interesting as well, a little bit, the history's a little bit interesting. So yeah, just making my new video. So before we get started, I'm going to show you my amethyst crystal. And I just want you to absorb that through the screen and just let it set the tone and just, yeah, enjoy the beauty of this for a wee moment. Wriggle jiggle. Charlotte's having a wriggle jiggle. Okay, so breastfeeding, a little bit about the history. So breastfeeding, the first recorded instance were in 1500 BC. That was around the Egyptian time, and they also had their first recorded instance then as well of other alternatives. So the other alternatives that were used was wet nursing. So this is another woman's breast milk. Now, reasons where they might have had to do this: the mother might have died, she might have been unwell, too unwell to breastfeed, or potentially she just maybe didn't produce milk. So yeah, they just needed alternative methods available as well. So wet nursing became popular and became used over time. Now, over time as well, high classes and royalty decided to pay wet nurses because they thought they were too good to breastfeed their babies at some point in history. And they thought, they would pay these wet nurses to do that. So wet nurses were in the pecking order, but they were quite lower down. Now, around the 1800s, men were becoming to get more involved, with doctors and with the likes of births and pregnancies and babies. And yeah, like medical stuff was moving forward, and yeah, the guys were becoming involved. It was traditionally women that sort of had been in charge of these areas. So writings of the times as well suggested that wet nurses were, because they were lower class, they were eating more fat, they were drinking more alcohol, and, therefore producing potentially lethal milk. So as it had been with the high classes employing these wet nurses, they started to realise that, the mother's own milk was more beneficial. Now, if you think about it, that makes a kind of sense, because potentially the pregnant mother has been watching her diet, she's been, watching her intake of alcohol and anything else that would be detrimental to her pregnancy. And, hopefully she'll be mentally well balanced as well. And this is what the writers at the times would say would make perfect milk for your baby. So yeah, that was just a little bit about the history. Let's have a little look at the benefits now. Turning my little notes over with my little visitor here. Okay, so the first few days you're going to produce colostrum, and that's like a yellow, goldy sort of thicker than milk. It's like the champagne of milk. So they say the champagne of the dairy world. It is so good for your baby. So these first few days are so important. So the colostrum itself is made up 2/3 of white blood cells. Now, white blood cells help fight infection, help your baby's immune system, and they've just got, they're just like really nourishing. So it's like highly nutritious and nourishing for your baby. So the antibodies, these are a great way to protect against tummy upsets, against diarrhea, and it's just good for the young babies and helps because they've got immature guts, so it basically just helps their guts. So their gastrointestinal tract will be lined with this colostrum. So it'll pass through the antibodies. So if the mother has had any illnesses, the antibodies that are going to be in this colostrum are going to protect their child from any illnesses that their mother's had. So it's like, it's like almost like a database as well. It's like moving forward, protecting your child from anything that the mother's also had. So colostrum as well is so essential to help your baby grow and develop. It's high in vitamin A, which is, essential for eye health, helps with blindness and things like that. Also, the magnesium, which is high, and it protects their little heart and their bones, can help them, develop and grow. And it's also high in zinc. So the zinc is essential for like brain development. And now, when a baby's born, their brains are just like developing rapid style. So these first few days are like so important. You don't get that from formula fed milk. You don't get these antibodies passed down. Don't get me wrong, formula milk has improved over the centuries. I mean, at first, back to the history again, at first when they had other alternatives, they were using things like bone broth. They were using things like cow's milk and cereal, and like these had high mortality rates. And of course, when they first had formula milk, I mean, it wasn't the best. It obviously tried and tested over time. These days, it's obviously a lot better. So I mean, you can just go and bottle feed if you want, but you're missing out. You're missing out on this extra protection that's like lining their gastrointestinal tracts, all these vitamins, highly concentrated vitamins and minerals that you're giving to your baby, and you're passing on your own antibodies as well, any infections you've had. So it's just a really important time. And not everybody can breastfeed, but if you can, go for it. What have you got to lose? And it's like you're giving your baby the best possible start in their wee life. So also the colostrum, I'll add this one on at the end, helps prevent jaundice. So it acts like a laxative. It goes down, goes through the body, it relieves anything that's picked up in the womb. So the high levels of red blood cells that the liver needs to process, the colostrum, is going to help the baby flush that out their system. So they're going to have their first poos, which is the really dark poos. So that's their system being flushed out and ready, So it's got so many benefits, so many helps. So I'd urge anyone that's, teetering on the verge of not really knowing what to do, even if you did, they do recommend that you do like 6 months breastfeeding. Not everybody wants to do 6 months breastfeeding, but see if you do that first few weeks, that first few days are the most crucially important to pass all the good stuff on. Because after a few days, your milk goes to milk, the colostrum sort of goes away and you go to the milk. But yeah, I mean, any breastfeeding at all is so beneficial for your wee one. And I'm glad that you've come up to join in my video today, Charlotte, because you wouldn't let me make it when you were down. You were having a little tantrum to yourself down there. So here you are, you're a happy girl now. So thank you for watching my video, and I just hope it's inspired anyone out there, help you with breastfeeding. And this is my little miracle girl, 3 years we were trying for our wee baby, so we're just so happy that she's here. And if that inspires anyone to breastfeed, I've done my job today. So thank you again for watching, and please subscribe and join us on our wellbeing journey. Thank you. Bye. Say bye, Charlotte. Oh.